What's up, Ape Nation? It's your boy Phil for real. Yo, listen, I got a doozy for you today. As y'all know, I'm an ape gamer. I love the game. I'm a video gamer. And as I always were telling you guys, I predicted that Astrobot would win Game of the Year, based on, the fact that it looked finished just by the trailer alone, the gameplay. So if you notice, majority of these YouTubers that actually game and have millions of subscribers, they're just so shocked that Astrobot won Game of the Year. I wonder why. Oh, that's right. It's because they even admit themselves that they never played it. So if you're wondering and watching your favorite gaming YouTuber and you looking at their response to why Black Myth Wukong didn't win, well, it's because of the innovation of Astrobot, catering to the DualSense controller. It caters to parents. It caters to kids. It's a really good feeling. Basically, I predicted the same thing would happen, in 2021 with It Takes Two, and that's exactly what happened. So, but that's another conversation to have. But let's have this conversation because this conversation is very important to have because the game awards did come out and they came out with trailers, for certain games, and you're gonna hear my good buddy Payu. I forgot, I don't know how to say his name here, but he's a really cool gaming influencer, and he's literally saying the obvious. What the fuck does woke mean? Here's his reaction to basically all of the comments of people that disagree and bash some of the games that came out. So I want you to listen to what he has to say, and you can hear for yourself. So here we go.
Witcher 4 is woke, okay? Borderlands 4 is woke. Naughty Dog's new IP is woke. Astrobot winning Game of the Year is woke. Me taking a shit is woke, right? Me taking my shoes on is woke. What the fuck does woke mean? Witcher 4
Let's
is
listen
woke,
again.
okay? Borderlands 4 is woke. Naughty Dog's new IP is woke. Astrobot winning Game of the Year is woke. Me taking a shit is woke, right? Me taking my shoes on is woke. What the fuck does woke mean?
So, as you could hear, it is very frustrating to see games come out and a lot of these people, gamers, if you will, commenters, they're calling these games woke. You even see some of the terminology used in some YouTubers that basically follow, some conservative ideology. And I would like to basically, again, briefly explain where this word came from, why it got twisted, and how it got twisted to where you get video gamers talking about what the fuck does woke mean. Because keep in mind, the intention of this word is totally different than what people think it is. And some of you seem to think you know what this definition is. But again, if you truly knew what this word meant, it would truly wake you up, and you're going to see it in certain elements. And so allow me to explain basically. So back in, I would say 2013, possibly 2011, 20 through 2020, the last, 15 years, if you will, there's been a civil war between black atheists and black Christians. And so the black atheist was basically saying, listen, I'm leaving the Christianity ideology. That's what they were doing. They left the Christianity ideology and they decided to go woke, meaning they waking up from what they were taught throughout the generations of America. Okay? So they said, look, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this ideology anymore. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to deal with it. Things like that. Now, black Christians, saw this as a threat because this is their brother, this is their sisters, this is their parents, this is their friends, family, everybody that they know, right? They're like, whoa, 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 where are you going? Like, we grew up like this. Why are you leaving now? Well, it's because they woke up. They actually did their own research. Because if you do grow up in the church, they tell you have a personal relationship with God, right? They tell you this all the time. And so that leads to reading the Bible often, and then of course, when people do read the Bible in its entirety without any pastors, they do have a deeper understanding of what that meant. So they had questions and there were no answers. And then all of a sudden you get, individuals studying cultures and heritage of ancient Kemet and Samaritans and Africa. Okay. Like they're just understanding these elements. And so, basically they came to the conclusion, yeah, I'm woke. I'm awake. I'm aware of where my, I would say, true heritage is, or people in general, their true heritage. Because keep in mind, being woke is not just a black ideology. It's also a human ideology that's been spread out throughout the years. If you've never heard of the Zeitgeist movie, obviously is a white man that's telling everyone what really is going on. So, since this was happening, the black Christians felt like this was a threat to their religion or their understanding of, what's going on, right? Or spirituality, if you will. So they felt like this was a threat. And so since that was the case, debates happened. You got the Hoteps versus the Christians versus the Hebrew Israelites versus the Yahwehs versus the the Horuses, all of these things was happening, like debates, like literally all these debates were happening. But what ended up really happening was the Christians just kept losing, as they were losing, of course, some of the Hoteps and the Yahwehs and everybody else, they were calling them names, mocking them, calling them names as, most likely calling them delusional, all of these things, because when presented with evidence, they just truly refused evidence. So, the debates were lost. They lost debates with these individuals. So what did those black Christians do? How would they win? Or even not win, but just mock them right back? Well, what these black Christians would do is they would say, you're so woke that you're asleep, right? Or they would wear these T-shirts to protest. Now, mind you, around the time when George Floyd was murdered, and of course, there's a lot of police shootings, right? That's happening. So, black people in peril and upset right now, right? So, a lot of these protests were happening. And so, what these black Christians would do is they would go to these protests and they would wear like woke for Jesus, woke for God, basically pushing their ideology, but mocking woke at the same time. It got to the point where I saw SNL, or maybe I think Keenan Thompson or something, they made SNL skits like woke, 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 woke. They were kind of like mocking it because keep in mind, it got really popular, right? Because it was the wave that most black people were going, because they understood, oh man, you know what? That ideology probably isn't for me, right? And so that was a threat to the black Christians. And so those black Christians decided to go to these protests and wear woke for Jesus, woke for God, and then what ended up happening at the same time, Democrats and liberal media in an election year, in the years of Trump, right? They're watching this. They're looking at this. Remember, the one thing that Democrats love to do to get votes is identity politics. And so what these individuals would do is say, oh, well, what does that mean? What does woke mean? They would ask them. And they'll say, oh, woke is, is I'm woke for Jesus. They would not give them a definite answer. It got to the point where this one white girl was asked, hey, what does woke mean? And she just couldn't answer the question because she really did not know, because she just saw whatever that she saw at protests. She see people talking about it, but she didn't know what it really meant, like its origin, if you will. So since that happened, the Democrats was like, you know what? I think this will work. I think if all these black people are saying that they're woke, let's just cater to them and pander to them. And then, we're going to win votes. And that's basically what happened. So if you're wondering how that happened, well, you can look no further than looking at Nancy Pelosi kneeling with kente cloths. Okay. She had those kente cloths. Matter of fact, I can go and look for it. Well, I don't need to look for it, but basically, there's images everywhere. You'll see Nancy Pelosi, all the Democrats are kneeling with kente cloths. That's why you see them wearing those kente cloths, is because they were attempting to pander to black people for votes. And unfortunately, it worked. Unfortunately, because identity politics is basically gaslighting black Americans. That's all it is, for their votes. And it worked. It got to the point where, even congressmen were asked, hey, what does woke mean? And they're like, I don't know what that means really, but if you really want me to make up a definition, and that's exactly what they did. They made up a definition of what woke meant. So they basically said, well, it means inclusion of genders in all races, and inclusion, if you will. That umbrella is how they hid it, right? And big words that they try to use, right? But basically that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, liberal media, they followed with that narrative. They say, you know what? That does sound a lot more nicer than saying that my religion is fake. That's a lot more nicer than my religion is fake. Yeah, I'm going to run with that. So that's what they did. They ran with that narrative of saying inclusion. And so now jobs, corporations, media, video game industry, movie industry, they all ran with that narrative as well, because they don't know what the hell's going on. They're, I don't know what that word means, but it looks like everybody's cool with it. So I'm just going to do it because it looks like it makes money. Right. And so since that happened, now you're getting, roles that were particularly catered to the man or the male, right? Now they're, creating these games. They're, that may have studs in them, right? Or they're creating, movies that replaces, let's say Snow White, for instance, right? And now, mind you, keep in mind, and this is just to be fair, there are films that basically did the same to black people. Just to be fair, Gods of Egypt. I'm just saying, a film full of white people that it wouldn't make sense because in Egypt, everybody was black. So understandably so, I get it. It may feel uncomfortable, but it replacing characters, out of spite is actually pretty stupid. But since that's what it is, that's where we at right now. That's what we have to deal with. So now you're getting this mass confusion where gamers in the gaming industry, they're calling everything woke. Yeah, that's woke. Look at it. Oh my God, it's a stud. Yeah, that's woke. Oh my gosh, it's a woman. Yeah, that's woke. Oh no, she's unattractive. Yeah, that's woke. They're purposely doing this to us, guys. And so that's what you're seeing. And that's what you're seeing his reaction right now, because he's pissed the fuck off. Like, what do you mean Astrobot winning game of the year is woke? There's nothing woke about Astrobot. Astrobot is simply a fun family game that I even knew was going to win game of the year. Okay? You want to really have a woke awakening, or no, like a true woke awakening? Go watch the movie Heretic. Okay? This movie is about two Mormon girls who come to this man's house to sell their religion, right? And he basically traps them to sell his ideology of what he believes to be as true. And then as they're in there, he presents them with Horus, Mithra, this god, that god. And then he says, oh yeah, you got the Book of Mormon. Yeah, you got the Bob Ross version of Monopoly. Think about that. The American version of, and that's how most black Americans that were leaving Christianity ideology, that's how they looked at Christianity. So now everyone is confused. So keep in mind, black Christian, if you're out there and you were, helping with this ideology, you won, you helped out, and you caused the confusion that we're experiencing today, which is gamers calling certain games woke. You won. You did it. You succeeded. So congratulations. And with that being said, that is my 2 cents on this rant here. And shout out to Payo. Very awesome guy. Very cool gamer. A PlayStation guy, of course. I love PlayStation, right? So I grew up on OG PlayStation. So, but this is where that word woke came from, where it meant, and how it got twisted. And it's a lot of these people out here saying it, and they're just looking so crazy and confused. Like whenever I see like a black guy like Thomas Magnus, when I see him say, "Oh yeah, that's woke," I just know that he's just copying some other right-wing white guy, and that's just a fact. I know that for sure because I know he doesn't either know the definition or he just and I'm sure he probably doesn't know, but he's a great guy too. But I'm sure when he says it, he's just probably following or looking at the argument of a white guy on YouTube that probably doesn't know either, right? And this is causing mass confusion to where everybody's like, what does this word even mean? Well, I just fucking told you. I've told everybody on this YouTube channel thousands of times, like, hey, this word actually is black atheism, okay? That's all it is. That's all it is. You can have your own version if you want, like you can make up your own version. And remember, being woke is not limited to a race, right? Being woke is a human thing, right? So I just want you all to know that. And, watch Heretic. Hugh Grant is woke in this movie, meaning that he understands that there are many different cultures that practices many different religions. So you have to be aware of what is really on this planet Earth, because that's what Mormonism kind of does. It takes you away from TV. It takes you away from sodas. It takes you away from all these things that would make you curious to what else is out there. And so this is why this is why this movie is so special, is because it actually takes them, breaks them down, and now they're way more aware than they were before. So keep in mind of that. My name is Phil. I'm a gamer and an ape and a musician, and I love you. Trust me. But I don't love what's going on. So have a good one, people. Enjoy your weekend.